Legion's back, or at least I think it is. It's really hard to follow. I'm pretty sure I watched it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Inside Voices. Maybe, just maybe, everybody on the panel's caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Stay tuned to find out. But we've also got some news about Cloak and Dagger and my favorite, the Inhumans. Marvel TV Weekly starts now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, here we are. Indeed, we've got some Happy Jack because we are indeed celebrating the return of Legion. You know, David Haller, that guy. Legion, the TV show. The TV show where I think I know what's happening, but usually I'm wrong. Anyway, the show, the after show, and the news show where you might think you know what's happening, but you're usually wrong, is indeed Marvel TV Weekly. I'm Christian Bladt, joined as always by the very elegantly dressed, the one, the only, Amy Cassandra Martinez.
Hi.
And also elegantly dressed in the amazing Quicksilver shirt, the one, the only, Michael X Shirley.
That's me.
I didn't leave you anything to say.
I know. You always give me such a great intro. I don't have to do anything.
That's all right. That was perfect. And of course, in the booth, Tony B. Tony _ Anthony. Thank you for helping us out. He suggested Happy Jack. I had sent him some bad videos because that's how I roll. Let's start with an announcement about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, Amy, when you started this show, which was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago? It's flown by.
It's flown by. It might be 2 months.
Time flies when you're talking Marvel. And you had seen, I think, 0 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
And let's tell the audience.
I'm really impressed.
How many episodes you've seen, or where are you right now?
I'm caught up. I've seen 110.
Is it 110?
No.
No, it's not quite.
107?
I think 110 will be the final one of the season. But you're like,
Knocker.
you're like 103 or 104.
It feels like, okay.
You're going to have to look it up.
I actually don't know. But I am caught up, which is what matters. It was a big moment. And it happened today.
It happened today.
It happened today, just a few hours
because
before
when I
got here.
saw you last night, because you were doing which show were you doing? Box Office Breakdown.
Box Office
Yeah,
Breakdown,
we crossed paths briefly, and you said you had seen Fitz and Simmons get married, and you knew that cynical Michael Shirley was not a fan of Fitz and Simmons getting married.
I know. I'm fine with them getting married. I just thought it was a little like, after all that time, they could have put a little more time into their wedding day.
I see where you're coming from, exactly. Yeah.
But they don't have the time to put time into their wedding day.
Well, if
their
we're
honeymoon.
watching the same show, they're invincible and they have all the time in the world. Doesn't matter what they do, they're gonna be just fine.
They didn't know that yet when they planned their wedding. Thanks to Geek. By the way, you've seen 104 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes.
Wow.
And it's
how
a
many
wild ride.
months? How many
It's
months?
like maybe 3 months.
Why do you know? 3 months sounds like a lot.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yes, Anthony in the booth is, of course,
you all.
very excited.
Thanks,
You know,
Tony.
I can probably tell you, actually.
And Michael, are you keeping an eye on the chat? We know how much people in the chat love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's right. Fridays at 9, 8 Central on ABC. Why not let people know where they can find the show so that they, too, can watch 100, well, it'll be 105 episodes as of Friday. Yes.
3 months.
3 months. Look at that. Almost. Well,
That's still a lot of hours.
that's a lot of hours. It's you know, it's 100
5
hours.
days straight at least.
It's not 100 hours because each one's like 42 minutes, but that's a lot of time, and it's very dedicated. I appreciate that. And you know who appreciates that? Phil Coulson. I would say the whole team appreciates
Thank
it.
you.
Even Trip. Yeah, right?
All the wounds are just so fresh for me.
Yeah, of all the people who died.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's there was a moment in the latest episode where I thought that maybe Phil Coulson was ready to join them.
Yes.
Because all it took was a gut punch to the heart. So it's really a heart punch. Michael,
A lot of people in the chat are saying that they didn't watch Legion yet.
Well, here's the thing. We're not going to spoil it because I don't know how to spoil it because I'm so confused by that show. I love that show. It is beautiful. I think that the casting is great. I think it's really well written. I think that I don't know what's happening. And here's the problem. I know Michael will give me a hard time that I use as an excuse for everything, but I do have 2 kids. It's at 10 o'clock at night, and it's not an hour show. It's like the premiere was an hour and 20 minutes. I didn't make it. I had to rewind.
With commercials.
Yeah, I know. But I was watching it in real time. So I did not make it to the end of the show. I had to rewind, I had to watch and see what's going on. So, but anyway, I'm incapable of spoiling Legion unless I tell you who his father is. Other than that, I don't know that there's anything to really spoil at this point. But we'll get back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For the moment. Michael, what did you think of the latest episode?
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
I thought it was there was a couple of good Ruby moments. I think they're really building up to something that's going to be pretty awesome with her and Quake.
Yeah, I think that will be fun. I want to find that she's like deep in the background. Like they're going to reveal she's like some other character, kind of like they did with Sky.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. I
Quake.
mean, that could be interesting that we find out she's someone else, and hopefully it's not somebody obscure. What if we find out she's Squirrel Girl? I only said that because I knew Michael would make that face. So, Amy, for you, it's been a marathon, 104 episode marathon. But what do you think about where this story is right now? You know, they're back from space and still kind of on the run and in hiding. Well, they're not even really on the run; they're just in hiding. What do you think about where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is at this point in season 5?
So I really do. See, I was hesitant about Deke when the season started, but I do like him, and I love how it was recent for me, but how now Fitz and Simmons both know that Deke is their grandson. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna go, because really Gemma just needs to give birth, and then after that it's a little bit scarier, you know.
Yeah, they're not as invincible as they think they are.
They are
Yo-Yo
not.
met herself in the future. Yo-Yo is perhaps a little bit more invincible. Of course, anybody who understands anything about time travel, none of this means anything. You could very easily kill yourself.
Yes, there could be 2 different
Or
parallels,
maybe you
or, like,
can't. We
timelines.
watched that experiment. Maybe something.
That's true. I was a little worried during Gemma's experiment. And,
I knew she
I
was
was a
gonna
sucker
be
like
fine
Mac.
the whole time.
I would have ended up locked up in the room with Mac.
You know, I think he deserved that for that crap he pulled in the framework.
Yeah.
I'm still annoyed
Wow,
at
you're
him
still mad about that. See, it's
yeah,
'cause-
I don't trust him. I would have locked him in there too.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but
I think her and Mac are gonna.
No.
yeah, I
don't think it's-
I think that's a pretty rough moment if you think about it. She was part of a major deception that made him not do his job. So I don't know. Let us know in the chat if you think that that Yo-Yo and Mac are going to stay together. I don't. I think that they
I
are
do.
never, ever, ever getting back together. Thank you.
I think it's.
I was really happy with that.
I think it's kind of like when, you know, you're in a relationship with someone and their life gets so much bigger than yours. I mean, I've been in this situation.
Yeah, on this
and-
panel, when, you know, some people on the panel's life has gotten bigger than ours.
No, it's just like when you're dating someone and your life seems like it's taking the lead and like you kind of want more. That can drive a wedge between you. And I feel like Yo-Yo being the way she is, she wants everything fast. I mean, that's just part of her makeup.
She can't help it.
And I think that he's not going to be able to give her what she needs anymore, because I think what she needs anymore is going to change.
So you would say that they're like Brad Pitt and Jennifer
I think they're
Aniston.
growing apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
her life's going in a different direction. She's got these whole new arms they're going to change everything for her. She's going to feel.
But we didn't see the arms in
Tougher
the
than
future,
Shardy.
so that'll be interesting. I mean, although I guess
she could take them off.
Well,
Someone probably stole them
Cassius
from
probably
her.
would have
Breathe a
taken
little.
them,
Yes.
and wanted to.
Maybe she bartered them.
That's true for
Some good
one of those
betting.
implants.
Oh.
They have to put that in her nub.
Yes, I think that it's
Yeah.
interesting what's going on with those characters. What do you guys think about Daisy, the chief, being in charge? You know,
I called this a long time ago.
You know it's bad when May is like, your people skills need some work. If May is telling you that you need to, you know, really, you know, soften it a little bit, you're definitely not doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, she has the right intentions, but I think, I don't know. I like that she's just like, we just need to get to Coulson, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But you can't just alienate people you want them on your side. But I also understand. I mean, freaking Fitz just like
She's absolutely right to feel the way she does
Hello?
about Fitz. But,
yeah.
But he can help them with their problem, at least in theory.
I'm kind of intimidated by Fitz right now. I don't know what to think because he could flip at any time again.
Most people in the chat are all for the relationship between Yo-Yo and Max.
Yes.
They want it to. They want it
They
to
think
work.
they're gonna make it. There's one other person that says they don't think so,
Haters gonna hate.
but
Yeah, another. We'll do a whole
think-
Swiftie episode.
there's also a couple people that think I should let it go.
Let what
okay.
go?
What
those are your
his decision
feelings.
in the framework?
No. I mean, I
Can't
of
look
course,
past it.
Again, back to my one narrative. Back to being a parent, I can understand how he felt, and
Kid
then,
wasn't real.
yeah,
But it
it was real to him. Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Jinx.
Jinx.
Anyway, so I don't know. It's interesting to see sort of as this all unfolds. And by the way, General Talbot has never been more likable than he's been in these episodes.
I've
where he's
always
lost his
liked
mind.
him.
Yeah, but he's been great with it, where he's like lost his mind and he's shouting a lot, and he's like, "What's wrong with him?" You know, a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I like that actor. I remember he was on Heroes.
Yeah, that's
and-
how I first discovered
Yeah,
him as
and
well.
I just think that it's a new layer to the character. It makes it kind of more interesting to see him be different. You got to figure at some point he'll get everything back together, and then he'll be the General Talbot of old. But I'm glad that we see. I don't know. It's fun to see them.
It's like seeing him as a real person
Yeah.
instead of like this untouchable,
Yeah.
figure in the military.
Amy, what do you think about Ruby as you've gotten to know her during your marathon here? Do you think she's up to no good? Something that we're not even entirely aware of yet?
Yeah, I don't trust her. I think she's...
Her mother should not trust her. But she
I know.
does. Hail Hydra. General Hail Hydra.
I like...
I know I forgot to comment
yeah.
on that joke because I liked it so much.
Yeah, I don't trust her. I think she's doing a good job. Yeah, I think she might be more powerful than Quake, and like what
She ain't
Well,
got
look,
no real
the-
powers.
we don't know.
The way that Creel tossed her around, my first thought was, nope, not ready to be a super soldier.
Well, no, but it could just be. I mean,
She
I
doesn't
don't- I
have
have
any
faith in
real
her.
powers as far as we know.
as far
She's
as
just
We
like-
haven't really
No.
seen what it is that she can do. We just know she's trained and she's got the little spinny disc things.
those are lethal.
The yo-yo clippers, unfortunately, as well. What I don't know what.
Why did you call it
Because it's
that?
mean.
That was,
I didn't mean to
that
upset
was
yourself.
so painful to watch.
Think about how Yo-Yo felt, all
I
right? So
know,
it's painful
right?
for you to watch. Just imagine
Yeah.
what she had to go through.
But see, even just the little the trailer that we got for next week.
Yes.
We could see that Quake and Ruby face off.
Oh, I
Yes.
don't watch the trailers.
Actually, this is the one time where I watched it on Hulu, and I just realized I didn't see the trailer for it. I usually do because I TiVo it and watch
Yeah.
it, but I didn't see it. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing Ruby and Quake.
I really
the
like
Quake Off.
Shake it up.
Okay,
Instead
now
of
you
shake it
now,
off.
now you're reaching. Now you're
Okay,
really
I'm
trying to
trying.
get Taylor
I'm
Swift songs in there. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Michael?
I really like that Raina came in
yes.
at the end.
I'm
'cause
glad you mentioned that.
when
Yeah.
she was on the show in previous seasons, I was like, I don't really
But then
like
she goes
her,
over to
but
Preacher.
I didn't really like her because I think she was doing a good job as an actress, and that's why I didn't like her.
Okay.
But when she went over to Preacher, I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, Ruth Negga is such an amazing actress. So I'm really excited to see her come back and see what kind of trouble she stirs up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That was actually a really cool little thing that, I would say what the show does best is it will constantly surprise you with characters that you see again. Even the little gravitonium flashbacks, in the beginning of the episode and then at the end of the episode with her as well, with
I
Raina.
like that she had that little box.
Yeah.
She's always collecting stuff. She's such a collector. She's like a fancy kind of supervillain.
Yeah. So look, we've got, I think, 6 more episodes of S.H.I.E.L.D., if even. So it'll be interesting to see where it's all going, if Phil Coulson will make it out alive, and to be honest, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to make it out alive. Marvel, I mean,
Telling
ABC,
you, one season tops.
one more season maybe.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they'll end it at this. No way.
Yeah, I think they're really. I don't know. It's one of those things where it feels like it's hitting its stride. It's like really, it's one of those
They're
shows.
gonna promote the last season. This is the last season.
Yeah.
They're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, this isn't the last season.
Well, let us know in the chat or after the fact in the YouTube comments if
Star Drew thinks Ruby will be the answer to save the world.
so. She'll be the saver of worlds, not the destroyer. That we clearly know that that's Quake, or maybe just the legend is all wrong and Ruby is the destroyer of worlds,
yeah.
and Quake was trying to stop her. But we'll find all of that out. Before we talk about Legion, which is the other big part of this episode, there is a little bit of Marvel news. There is every indication that the Inhumans has been canceled, which I
You
think.
called this like weeks ago when they deleted the website.
Yeah, but I also called it like before the season ended. But here's the reason why people are starting to really talk about it is that Anson Mount, who played Black Bolt, has been cast as Captain Pike in Star Trek Discovery Season 2. And you usually don't get to do that when,
You're like only one or two franchises at a time,
Well,
or one cameo on another show.
You can guest star in one episode of another series if you're signed as a series regular, schedule permitting. But I'm pretty sure that's not like a cameo. I'm pretty sure that Captain Pike's going to factor heavily into there. This is news that I could not share last night on Star Trek Weekly because it came up today. But it ties into this because everyone seems pretty sure. It's like, well, if Black Bolt is signing deals for other things. And also, we know that Ming-Na Wen also commented on a panel that she's like, wasn't that show canceled? I mean, no, it was, because she realized she wasn't supposed to say anything. So it's not really news, but it's kind of official now. And Amy, you weren't here when we were watching the Inhumans, so you really missed how Michael and I were the only ones really banging the drum for the Inhumans.
I'd say I was banging the drum.
Well, I don't know what you were doing, but you were right there with me when we were comparing Inhumans to The Gifted.
Well,
you were like, you came
come
down
on, look at the
hashtag Team
slate.
Inhumans, hashtag Team Lockjaw. So the real question is, can we see these characters on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. next season, which would be great. If there is a next season, I would love to see some of them. And by some of them, I mean Lockjaw. But I don't know.
I could
think
see him in Infinity War just like for like a split second, like a Stan Lee cameo kind of thing, like just for just a second.
you want to see Lockjaw? Yeah, I was going to say.
because it's in space.
I mean, Black Bolt is one of those hugely powerful characters that probably could at least.
Send his dog.
Well, he sent his dog. But I mean, Black Bolt matched up against Thanos. I mean, he just has to go like, and then Thanos is going to get knocked over. So I guess we just have to make that assumption, and it's of course unfortunate. There was an appearance by the one and only Stan Lee over the weekend. People are worried about his health. Here's the thing about Stan Lee: he's 95. I don't know that he needs to still be going out and doing appearances at conventions and things like that, but he obviously wants to. So good for him. I can't believe that Stan Lee is as active as he is,
I think I would want, if I could go up
Yeah.
and be around it, and like all these people adored me. I think I'd just like be totally down.
I mean, I know some people are like worried that he shouldn't be doing those things
Well,
anymore.
usually what they do is, I think their big studios are in or outside of Atlanta. He'll go and he'll do like 5 of his cameos in like a week or something. So it's not like he's flying all around the world and doing it. He does them a bunch at once.
We saw in Jessica Jones, he wasn't actually.
We didn't
he
actually
was,
talk about that. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah, he's like on, and
a billboard on a bus.
You got to really be looking for it, but yeah, it's true. It was right there. So, I don't know. I'm always so happy that Stan Lee is still part of our lives. I mean, the Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, which is my foray into all of this, he would narrate every episode and he would talk at the beginning. So it's such a unique voice, and I hope that we have it for a long time to come, but we're always thinking of Stan. I was gonna say we're thinking of you, Stan, but it's not just because
We're always.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Amy.
Have you guys met him or like seen him in person?
I have talked to him as part of an interview twice. The radio show I used to work on, and the Tomorrow Show, which is an extension of AfterBuzz, hosted by our pal Keven Undergaro, our co-founder here, and so I've gotten to talk to him, and also actually when I was setting up an interview for the Dennis Miller Show, the radio show I used to work for, I dealt with him directly. So I had this voicemail that was from Stan Lee.
Do you still have it?
No, because it was my office phone for a job I don't have anymore. So I know, but it was, you hear that voice and right away you're like, I know who's talking. It's Stan Lee. So, but what about you, Michael? Have you ever had a chance to meet Stan the Man?
I haven't, but when I was like, I think I'd say like 8 or 9 years old, he was on QVC promoting the fact that they were re-releasing the first ever issue of X-Men, like a reproduction version.
Right.
And we ordered 2 signed copies. So I have like 2 copies of
nice.
X-Men signed, but it's like from like 1995, So
It's a reprint of X-Men #1, like the original Stan and Jack Kirby. Yeah. Well, see, there you go. So
I'll show it to you.
That's right. We've got a big boys' night that Amy's invited to. May or may not come. We'll find out. We'll reveal that next week if she makes it there.
Behind the scenes.
We'll
Should
see.
we take behind BTS footage?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. Yeah, and so make sure that you get all of our social media there. Tony B. Tony will even be there. And so, what about you, Amy? You've met Stan?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what you were fishing for. You wanted to tell the story. When did you meet
No.
Stan?
It was a sunny day. No, it was at Alamo City Comic Con in San Antonio. Was it? It was either that or Wizard World Comic Con. It was in San Antonio, and it was so surreal because like we were all standing in line, and then I got in there and I was like, whoa, that's him. Then you take the picture, and then it's over, and then you could see people walking out with tears in their eyes, and I was just kind of in a daze. Like, I cannot believe I just took a picture with him, and it was a big deal.
It's probably better that I haven't met him in person. I've only talked to him on the phone because I can keep my emotions in check. He's responsible for so many things. He's brought so much joy, and so anyway, we hope he's able to keep doing it for the foreseeable future. One other news item is that Hayley Atwell has said she is open to returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, she had the 2 seasons of Agent Carter, and we theorized, I think last week, that she may show up in Ms. Marvel because she does show up in the flashback in Civil War.
It's not gonna look real hot though.
Well, she didn't. Oh, have you seen Civil War yet?
No, yeah, but I just mean she's gonna be really old.
And the reason, but the reason why I ask you that is because Michael is very far
right,
behind in the movies. He
I
just ordered
pick
Logan.
And choose.
Yeah, you just ordered Logan, so you'll get to see it soon.
Yeah,
right after you finish watching Roseanne the Complete Series, which you also ordered.
Well, I've seen that so many times.
So you
that's just like to have on file.
Look, you don't have to.
For,
you don't have to convince me. Yeah. Oh, is that what we're doing? We're doing a pizza party on Wednesday? Oh,
no.
Wow, he was really quick to say that.
I know.
That's what it means.
What's fun?
I mean, we should though.
We're adults.
Thank you.
We
Tony.
should have a pizza party and watch Logan.
Should be fancy pizza.
I don't
then.
have it yet.
Well, I'll bring mine over.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
there you go.
it's
I
not
have
about
it.
that. It's,
Okay, so everybody's gonna bring a copy of Logan over.
I'll bring the Wolverine. Actually,
I don't want to watch a movie.
Why not?
Just sit there in silence, say bye.
This is the time. Let's get back to
Hey,
the show.
everybody in the chat, what movie should we watch when we all go to Michael's house?
You've
Let us
never
know.
tried to watch a movie with me. People like
that's a
I know
great
people
point.
that won't watch movies with me.
That sounds
I
terrifying.
can't imagine.
I think I'm gonna have to add myself to that list.
It's because
Did you
talk
try to watch
through
a
the
movie
whole
with
thing.
him, Anthony?
We saw that Pride of
We
the
watched
X-Men.
Yeah, we watched that.
Pride of the
I was
X-Men.
probably talking the
Oh
entire
my
the
god,
first
I love Pride.
episode.
It's 22 minutes of X-Men
of
goodness.
me talking.
Yeah, he was talking the whole time.
Also narrated by Stan Lee, by the way.
I know it was just me and him.
And Mike.
Michael and Stan.
Commentary.
All right, well, we'll let everybody know how the big party goes. Give us your thoughts for what we should eat, what we should watch,
Turn up.
and maybe we'll, you can live tweet us during our little get together. Maybe we'll do an Instagram story. Just all the fun things. All right, let's talk about Legion now. Amy, you are still watching Legion season 1, and are you watching like bunches of episodes together? Because it's not the best show to do that with, by my personal opinion.
I know. I'll do like 2 to 3 at a time, but yeah, I mean, obviously my goal is just to
kinda
get.
rough.
It is rough. I was watching more of Agents of Shield, so I only have 3 more episodes, including this last one.
Okay, but there'll be a new episode tomorrow night, so
know,
you're
so then it'll be
instantly
4.
gonna fall behind. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No, she'll,
She'll catch up.
I'll
well,
catch up.
you watched 104 episodes in 3
yeah,
months, so.
she'll be on.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
this is a piece of
Well,
cake.
oh yeah, and
And you've got to be on the panel.
You're gonna be on the
Yes.
panel.
You gotta
So
watch
so-
it.
let's give a plug to that. So when are you
Yes.
going to be guesting on the Legion after show here at AfterBuzz? Wednesday.
At 10 p.m.
Okay.
Pacific Standard Time. We
So
will
if
be
you're on the
talking-
East Coast, just watch it the next day. Watch it the
or
morning
stay
after.
up with us. Ooh.
Yeah, that's true. It's a party.
Yes.
Are they
Okay.
gonna make you
Party.
sit on the couch?
No, I'm filling in for Carrie.
Carrie? Who's that?
The Invisible Woman. Remember?
Carrie will actually
Carrie.
be back in a couple weeks. Her
Remember
schedule,
that time she did that Invisible Woman trick on the set?
which was kind of nice,
That's
kind of nice work.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie will be back with us in a few weeks. The schedule hasn't allowed for her to come in on Mondays, but she will. I think in about a month she'll be back with us. But we're
great.
holding it down, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
So, what
so-
overall,
yeah.
what are your thoughts on Legion?
It-
That kind of says it all, but I'll
it-
let you say more.
It's exactly what you guys said. That it's gorgeous and the set design is beautiful. The cinematography, great.
The editing is
the
amazing.
The
editing-
costumes are
the
yeah.
really good
costumes.
too.
Hair and makeup too.
Oh yeah, like creepy fat guy from his nightmares. like that costume is
oh.
amazing.
He's one
Slash
of my favorite
terrifying.
parts,
Yeah.
though.
Also,
Yes.
like the art direction with the book that they find.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah, yeah,
that was
that's-
so creepy to me.
Yeah, just the visual, it's so amazing, and
yeah.
I love Noah Hawley because I think that Fargo, the very different stories, all the different seasons has been great, and so I think it's really cool when you take a creator like that and you bring them into, he's not a superhero, but you bring him into, a superpowered universe. I think is great.
I also think Aubrey Plaza is freaking amazing.
She's great.
I love
actually, as this first season was going along, I started to feel like, yeah, but they're not going to be able to keep her around. She's just a representation of the Shadow King, who it seems like we're going to actually meet later in this season, but you'll still be able to see that because it's a facet of her character. Michael, what have you thought about the Legion series in general, and what did you think about Tuesday night's episode? And again, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, we can't possibly spoil it. We're incapable of spoiling that show. It's spoiler proof.
There's like nothing to spoil right now.
Not right now. Yeah.
It's more just like speculation.
Yeah.
It's in like the scheme of like the whole Marvel universe, it's just kind of like the high art version of all the shows, and it's really, for me, kind of hard to critique it because of like the artistic factor of the show. Kind of like when you're watching like a movie by someone like David Lynch or Harmony Korine, it's like you can't really just say, oh, that's a bad movie, because
There's so much.
just that je ne sais quoi, the thing it has about
when something
it.
is
it's
like when someone's like an auteur, as they say, and
Yeah.
it's really like their vision, it's their singular
Right.
thing. Absolutely great. What were you gonna say, Anthony?
I was just gonna comment that it's like you can't really knock it for not just because you don't understand it. Like
Yeah. No,
And
my
again, that's also very intentional, and it's just kind of crazy to me that the same mind who came up with Fargo has come
Right.
up with this. It's just so different. Not that people are so boxed in, but
Yeah.
it is just such a different show.
And it is really, you can do so much with it because he has such a powerful mind, and it is indeed playing tricks on himself. And there were definitely times in the first season where I was like, all right, at least some of this better be real. The whole thing better not be like his imagination.
Yeah.
And there's always this little nagging voice in the back of my
I don't
head.
care what's real and what's not.
Well, if the whole show ends up being like, no, I'm just kidding,
Like
he was in a straight
Roseanne.
jack. Yeah, bro.
Or we always
Well,
bring it back.
We always bring it back to Roseanne, but there's the old show Saint Elsewhere, set in a hospital, and then the
Yeah, I
series
know what you're
finale,
talking about,
It
yeah.
turns out that it was just an autistic kid who had a snow globe, and he invented all this stuff. And you're like, no, but yeah, the Roseanne original series finale was just more like, I'm gonna just choose not to believe it. And you know what? Roseanne herself chose not to believe it. But this, I just hope that they don't mess around with us too much.
I'm fine with whatever they're going to
yeah.
do.
The Legion character is someone who is a very trippy individual to begin with. Now, he first appeared in New Mutants number 25, and that is a time period where that book was drawn by an artist named Bill Sienkiewicz, who was a really different, groundbreaking kind of artist. What you're looking at for those watching on YouTube right now is a cover for during the Legion quest. But Anthony, if you can switch to the other graphic, you'll see. So that is sort of a more normalish looking, an easier to grasp image from Bill Sienkiewicz. I don't know which issue that's from, but from his run on New Mutants. And it's printed on bad newsprint. So reading it, I was like 10 years old. I'm like, I am not having this. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why he draws like this. And none of it makes sense. But it's because he is this character whose own mind plays tricks on him, and he's somewhat schizophrenic, multiple personality disorder. Kind of one of the most interesting things about him is, and this is in the context of the comic books, I don't quite know what of this we're going to get, but he has separate consciousnesses.
Like thousands.
Yes, and they have different powers.
Yeah.
And so he switches between them, and there's some that seem to be the most dominant. So when I heard they were going to make a TV series out of this, I was like, this is going to be great. They haven't done that yet. He's just been David the super telepath, who
I don't know if we're gonna get into.
I don't know if we're gonna get it. I hope we do, because it's such an amazing
I think
concept.
It's gonna be a very short show. I think we're gonna get maybe like 3 or 4 seasons.
And
tops.
each one's like 8-10 episodes, so we're not gonna get too many overall.
It is something, just the concept of it all. It could go on like a Law and Order type of show.
Yeah.
You could just keep on going and going and going.
It's true.
And I think this is like just gonna have to be like a little. I don't want to say a limited series, but I'm sure it's so expensive to make this show as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it is on FX, which will have a good budget, but
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like it will end before the fans want it to end.
I think you're probably right. And I just think there's so much they can do with it, because some of these personalities are women, so it'd be interesting to see. And look,
what does that have anything to do with it?
Because you're gonna have
women.
you're gonna have this actor acting as a character.
Right. I understand.
So
what you're
that's what I
saying.
mean. So
Right, okay.
it'll just be, you'd see the range
His
that
different
this guy Dan
personalities,
Stevens
yeah.
maybe he has, but let's keep in mind he's the Beast from Beauty and the
Well,
Beast.
if he can do that.
If he can do that,
He can be
that's
an
one of his
animal.
personalities, is that he's the Beast.
Speaking of comic books,
Yes, this is a good time to transition to that. We'll put a pin in it for 1 second. And all I'll say, Anthony in the booth was wondering if he wanted to read some Legion comics. I would say start with New Mutants number 25, which is when he appears. But if you really want a sort of fascinating story that he's right in the middle of, is the Age of Apocalypse, when David wants to try and do his father solid and go back in time and kill Magneto. Except
Generation Next, right?
he misses,
Yeah.
and he kills Professor Xavier, and the Age of Apocalypse lasted for 4 months of calendar time in the real world, and everything was different. It was a really amazing, trippy sort of storyline where you got to do a lot of alternate reality stuff.
It affected like every comic that was.
Yeah,
being
they
printed
actually
at the time.
renumbered the comics. So Generation X became Generation Next.
Yeah,
Cable
it was
Cable
4
became
months.
X-Man, and then the X-Man character was so popular they brought him over, and so there were 2
He
Cables.
didn't do so well.
Well, not for long.
I
But
love
anyway,
his look, X-Man.
yeah, I like his look better than Cable.
Yeah,
I think
very
that
cool.
X-Man was cooler. So anyway,
better when you were younger.
You guys are making my head spin.
but so I'm just saying, like, read the original stories with Legion. Just find a collection that has New Mutants 25 onward.
Are you talking to
And-
Anthony?
Yeah, this is everybody. This is telling everybody. I'm telling Anthony, but I'm telling everybody. And Age of Apocalypse is what I personally would say. There's
That's
plenty
a
of
good
stories
art.
with Legion, but just checking out the, like, do you want to see a Wolverine with one hand? Age of Apocalypse is for you. There's a lot of other things, but that's probably the coolest visual from that time period. So check all that out, and we can talk more about David as the series goes along, the season goes along. So yes, we, in our final couple moments here, we wanted to talk a little bit about some reading. Now, Amy is, in addition to being part of this show, what show are you also on?
Marvel movie news.
Now, some people might think that this would be like the Sharks and the Jets, and that we're rival gangs.
No.
This is like
Same
the
Yeah.
Avengers and the West Coast Avengers.
She was
We're the-
on DC. That'd be a problem.
That would be a huge problem.
I don't.
conflict of
Uh,
interest.
By the way, we're the West Coast Avengers because we came along second, and I'm all right with that because that means that we have Hawkeye
and Scarlet Witch.
and Tigra and Wonder Man. Let's not talk about Wonder Man. But anyway, so now they want you to read a lot more comics, and we were talking before the show, and you told me you read some, and I was like, "What? I'll save it for the air."
Yes.
And so tell us what you've read recently, because I think people find this interesting. What you, as someone who hasn't read a lot of comics or maybe any comics, really.
Yeah, I mean, previously I had only read a few pages of Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Ms. Marvel, the modern Ms. Marvel.
Yes. So I started reading, really just started reading Thanos' Quest.
Okay, so that's where you started, just to
That's where I
get
started.
yourself geared up for Infinity War.
I just started
Yes.
reading that too, actually. Except
Twinsies.
I went back and started reading Silver Surfer 34, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a Silver Surfer series from the 90s that was largely created by an artist named Ron Lim, which that's my familiarity with the Silver Surfer. By the way, Silver Surfer has an often forgotten about 90s animated series. I think it had only lasted one
It
season.
was around with Fantastic
Yeah,
Four.
and I thought it was actually pretty good. I like that character. He's interesting. He's not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet because they haven't gotten everything back from Fox yet, unfortunately. And it is unfortunate that they're going to do Infinity War without him because he's so important to all of these things. But just to sort of take a minute and give us your thoughts from what you're reading and what you think about what you've seen.
Well, I think I really like that I'm starting there because obviously, I mean, I've seen all of the movies in the MCU, but it kind of explains it a little bit more. So we talk about the Infinity Stones, so like what they are, and I do this because I know that they go in certain places.
That's right.
And what they're for. So I feel like I'm getting that backstory that when I start watching Infinity War, I'm gonna be like, okay, I got this. I know where we're going.
My friend Rob, he's somebody I tweet with a lot. I also know him. He's actually reading online. He mapped it out. It's like he's got like 100 issues of like things that will tie into this. So it's like stories with Thanos, stories with Silver Surfer, and he'll just randomly post things along the way. And some of it's like stuff that I remember, like from that Silver Surfer series, and then some of it is stuff that is from the 60s I had no idea about, and then stuff from like the 21st century. So there's so much. I
Yeah.
feel like after Infinity War, that's when I'm going to do my reading. I'm going to find out what should I read now after the fact.
Yeah, and it's like for me, it's not. I'm gonna read all of the issues because there's no way.
Sure.
But I'm just gonna. It's kind of light reading when I'm not watching Legion or other
Yeah.
Marvel TV or rewatching all of the 18 movies.
Yes.
It's just a lot of Marvel right now, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, the comics are like late night kind
Yeah,
of thing.
well, I think that we should get suggestions from people in the chat
Yes.
now, people who want to leave comments after the
course.
fact on
Yeah.
YouTube. Let us know what you think Amy should read.
I've got a
would-
suggestion.
You have a suggestion? You go
And
first.
A little gift.
And a little
for
gift.
you.
Look at this.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that. Jim Lee, X-Men #1.
Yeah, this is volume 2, which is like
The best-selling comic book of all time.
Yeah, so it's also probably the most mass-produced comic.
Yes, well, that's the thing is people overbought because there were 3 variant covers. And,
there are
but
4 variant covers.
Oh, yeah, 'cause that's the one I have.
5.
I have the one where it's them all put together. But
Yeah. But this is for you.
Look at that.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you to get started. Yeah.
Cute. Holy
And-
moly.
And
It's a
my
pretty good cover 'cause
recommendation
it's got
will
Jean on it.
my recommendation will also be an X-Men, and it will also have Jean, which is the Dark Phoenix saga, which runs from Uncanny X-Men 129 through 137, but it's also there's a volume.
This one, it starts in like around 33.
Yeah. Yeah. I
When
see
they
what
get married.
Right,
Don't they get married and then things start getting crazy?
Yeah, that's right around when I was out. But anyway, so we'll give you some more suggestions. I've got a long list of Spidey suggestions. But before we completely run out of time, I know that our friend Yael Teagle went to an event, and there was something to do with Cloak and Dagger there. So I guess she talked to some people. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that.
So she was able to go to Comic-Con, WonderCon, and she spoke to Cloak and Dagger. We have 2 interviews, so this is just a little clip.
Look at that. There she is talking to Cloak and Dagger.
Straight up AfterBuzz exclusive.
Yeah.
Yes.
No matter what, the universe just pulls them together, pulls them apart. So it's I think the beauty of the show, though, definitely is their friendship, their companionship. You know, it's like no matter what, they're always on each other's mind at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you know?
and having each other's backs, and I think that's something nice to see, is have a new friendship blossom into camaraderie and loyalty. And I think, I mean, what we always say, it's you're gonna fall in love with these 2 kids before you fall in love with them as superheroes. So I think that's what's very beautiful about it.
Do you have a Cloak or Dagger in your...
See, yeah, and I'm so glad she got to talk to them. There's another video that we have. It's just
we'll fit in one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up for
It's a short little one. This
is the creator of the show. Go ahead.
I really want to tell a human trafficking story if possible. I think there's a lot of that going on in the United States, and we know nothing about it. So if Tandy and Tyrone can muss some people up who are doing that, that'd be kind of fun. But, you know, I think the spirit of teenagers are going to save us all, particularly this weekend, is one that we want to just keep up and bolster and help as much as we can.
That's wonderful. Why do you think free?
Yeah, see, so I'm so glad that we got to get that
Yeah.
exclusive. Thank you, Yale.
And I think that it's a really interesting story, and we'll talk about Cloak and Dagger at great length when the series premieres in June. It's very interesting that it's on Freeform because it is such a dark story. It's really heavily, it's heavily in the kidnapping and the drug world, but we'll talk about that in the near future. But right now, we're still right in the thick of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Legion, so we'll have more of that next week. And the countdown to Infinity War is really going to step up. But anyway, thanks to everybody who has joined us in the chat, and everybody who's watching, and everybody who will be watching the archive. You haven't done it yet, but thank you in advance. For me, I'm at Christian DMZ, and shameless plug, my personal podcast, The Blattcast, BLADTCAST.com. I have a sit-down interview with past guest Patrick Meany, who did the film Clish Claremont's X-Men. I talked to him for an hour and a half, so if you thought that I loved to hear myself talk when he was on this show, you're really going to think it this time. Anyway, that's blattcast.com. Amy, where can people find you?
On social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ. Tomorrow, Marvel Movie News, Popcorn Talk, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wednesday night, I will be filling in for the Legion panel on AfterBuzz, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And then you'll be hanging out with us on our boys' night. Michael, where do people find you?
Hey, you guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michael X Shirley. And in case I didn't drop enough hints, you can find me on Tuesdays on Roseanne here at AfterBuzz at 10 p.m.
10 p.m. All right.
Pacific Standard.
And in the very near future, you're also going to be on the Blattcast. And I'm going to talk to you about
we'll see
Roseanne.
what happens.
Cool.
Well, we're getting the boys' night, so at least we're getting that out of the
When
way.
am I
Anyway,
going to be on the Blattcast?
well, Tony B. Tony, anytime.
What do you know about?
I know about everything.
Horror movies? Yeah, well, it's true. Tony B. Tony knows about everything. Anyway, yes, indeed, that is Tony B. Tony _ in the booth. Thanks to everyone. We will see you next week. Until then, Excelsior!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!